as we always do before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like button. Again, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the content, and also make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this and if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscription button and also hit the notification bell. Also, go to dynastymirror.com. Again, go to dynastymirror.com. While you're there, there are 83,000 of you, around 83,000. We're approaching 84,000 of you watching, or 84,000 of you who are subscribed to the platform. With that being said, 84,000 of you, in fact, double 84,000 of you, we'll say about 168,000 of you should have a book or a shirt. You know, what do I mean? If you are a subscriber and if you buy merch, you need to refer the merch to other people for them to buy merch as well. So go to dynastymirror.com, buy a book. Again, buy a book written by me. Also buy a shirt. Africa is my therapy. Get the shirt, cop the shirt, embrace the shirt, love the shirt. Go to dynastymirror.com and get the shirt. Also, make sure you join the email list. Again, make sure you join the email list while you're at dynastymirror.com. Become a monthly Patreon. Again, let me get the page. Let me get the there we go. The ticker at the bottom. Let me get that up and running and rolling. So go ahead and become a monthly Patreon as well. Patreon.com, search for Uhuru. Again, patreon.com, search for Uhuru. Support Black media, you guys. Again, support Black media so we can continue to grow our platform and really develop platforms outside of YouTube. I mean, that's the plan. So again, go to search patreon.com, search for Uhuru. Sierra Leone, okay, Sierra Leone, April 21st to the 30th, group tour to Sierra Leone. Come and enroll with us. Go to searchforuhuru.com, send me a message. When you send me a message, leave your phone number as well, and I will call you and we can discuss details. Also at searchforuhuru.com, the itinerary is also posted. So again, guys, like, share, subscribe, go to dynastymirror.com, join the email list. If you're interested in coming to Sierra Leone with us, go to searchforuhuru.com, send me a message. Let's get this thing cracking. Today's topic. So, Brandon, people miss some. Oh, in fact, I'm sorry, you guys. We got Brandon, Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, our special guest with us today. And today's topic is, will Joe Biden end white supremacy and save the Africans in America? Is Joe Biden the savior of the Africans in America? Now, people keep bringing up, you know, I watched some of the debate. I think it was this past Wednesday or Thursday. Was it Wednesday, Brandon, or Thursday?
I think it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. Okay. So I watched the debate on Tuesday, and everyone's, I guess, dropped the mic. Hey, we got you. Moment. We know Donald Trump's a white supremacist because he refused to renounce or disavow white supremacy. But what's odd or hypocritical is that when Donald Trump said to Joe Biden, "You call black people super predators," then he followed up with, "I know you've called black people worse things than super predators." Joe Biden didn't respond. He didn't respond to that or disavow.
No, they was in his earpiece. They was in his earpiece saying, "Don't respond to that, Joe." And so he just did the thing he does best, which is keep quiet. But I mean, it's mindless. I mean,
it's crazy because again, Donald Trump said, "You call black people super predators, and you call black people worse things than super predators," and Joe Biden didn't have a response to that. He didn't deny it. He didn't deny it.
Donald Trump went further than that, right? He actually gave black people more credit than most of us even deserve, because Donald Trump said, you said a lot of bad things about black people. You thought they would forget, but they didn't. You said it, and it's on video, and that's why they're not coming out to support you. That was Donald Trump's words. But what Donald Trump doesn't know is that black people have like this short-term, like this short attention span, or this short-term memory, where we totally forget that, you know, that a person is a white supremacist based on the things that he has said publicly and have been recorded. And when the TV tells us that was the past and the person has grown, he's turned a new leaf over in his life, we actually believe it. So Donald Trump basically said the reality. He said the way things should be is where we remember all the things Joe Biden did to us. And let me tell you the bigger thing, Dynas. Donald Trump actually brought up the 1994 crime bill, which most politicians wouldn't even have brought that up, because it's just kind of like an unspoken agreement that most of them voted for that legislation, so they can't bring it up, right? Donald Trump basically threw everything that that Biden has done to black people out on the table in the first debate. And at that moment, every black person should have been thinking, damn, you know what? He's right. This guy did do this and do this and do that. And that would have been a turning point for me if I was a person who was interested in voting for Joe Biden. But somehow Joe Biden he can't be touched. He's untouchable. He's Don Corleone or something in black people's mind, because no matter how many examples of Joe Biden's racism are displayed or shown to them publicly, they just keep on trugging along in service to white supremacy. And I don't get that.
I don't get it either. So hold on one second, guys. I'm just putting the let's see here. I am putting the link to the show on my Facebook for those who are interested in watching on Facebook. Also, too, guys, we will open up the lines for you guys to call in here in about 30 minutes. So if you would like to call in, I will put my email address in the chat room. Click on the email. Well, send me an email and I will forward you the link, and you guys can call in and ask a show. Go ahead, Brandon.
Look at Nah Beach. Okay, so here's the thing, Dynas. They said Donald Trump didn't want to, disavow or condemn racism, right? And when they were talking about racists, they meant the group, the Proud Boys, right?
Right.
The Proud Boys went on public television and said, we are 100% against racism. We condemn white supremacy. And the spokesperson of the Proud Boys is actually black, right?
Right.
So first, you got to prove that the organization that you're saying he won't condemn is actually racist. And that's what Nah Beach says right here in this comment. The Proud Boys are the most racially, ethnically diverse white supremacist group I've ever seen. Seems like they're more right-wing than anything. I don't know. And that's really what it is, right? It's a bunch of people. There's black people in it. There's even Asians in it. And they're basically just right-wing conservative people, right? But somehow they're white supremacists. But Antifa is the one burning down our neighborhood. The liberal group is the one burning down our neighborhoods. That's who burned down my dojo over in Long Beach, California. It wasn't Proud Boys. And so you want Trump to disavow a group that is really not a white supremacist group. That's why I think Trump hesitated to say he condemns them, because he knows more about them than any of us do, because he's the president. So therefore, when things, different groups rise up, he's given a briefing on what this group is, where it comes from, and what it represents, more so than us just watching whatever CNN chooses, to show us at the time, right?
Right. Yeah, that was crazy. So yeah, you're right. So one of the, I guess, the leaders of the Proud Boys is like we'll say a mixed race Cuban or Puerto Rican.
They have done nothing to, and this is the thing. Someone says, "Oh, I'm capping for the Proud Boys." Here's the thing: I don't know enough about the Proud Boys to say anything about them technically. But the thing is, I'm not gonna do what black people do. Just jump to a conclusion based on what the news is saying. It's like all of a sudden, Dynas, all the entities that used to lie on us and lie about who we are as a people are suddenly trustworthy. Like suddenly we believe the FBI, bro. After the FBI spent decades lying on black people and killing us and putting out misinformation, right? Now all of a sudden these same entities are suddenly trustworthy when it comes to everything else. Even if you hate Trump, but please don't act like CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all these news outlets are some type of morally, righteous entities. They're not. They've always lied. They still lie. I'm just telling people, vote in your best interest. And that's what the topic of this show is. If Trump is so bad, he's terrible, somebody needs to get on here and tell us what Biden is doing or offering black people that makes him a better alternative. And there won't be anyone who can answer that.
In fact, this is what we'll do. We'll go ahead and open up the lines. Guys, if you want to call in and challenge Brandon, email is uhuru@searchforuhuru.com, uhuru@searchforuhuru.com. Now, another argument that people make is the, I guess, the Central Park Five. You know, I guess when Donald Trump was going after the Central Park Five, I guess he never apologized for that. That's another argument that people are making in regards to not voting for Donald Trump. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the Central Park Five, I'm not with Donald Trump on that. I think he was 100% wrong, but you know, he was totally off base. And I would only let that impact my vote if I believe that Donald Trump cared about black people. I know he doesn't. I don't think Donald Trump really cares about anybody like that because he's a money making dude. He's a billionaire. But I'm not gonna let that make me vote against my own best interest, right? I'm not gonna reward Biden. Like, the only person who's benefiting right now from black death is Joe Biden. Black people aren't benefiting from us dying in the street, but we're gonna watch a white man who anytime ever in history, Joe Biden wouldn't even have been considered. But we are in the process of watching a white man basically rise to the mantle of leadership as president based on the murder of black people. So, like, why is it every time we die, there's some white guy who benefits from it? And I refuse to be a part of that. Biden has benefited more from the death of Trayvon Martin, the death of George Floyd, the death of Breonna Taylor, the Ahmaud Arbery. Joe Biden has benefited from those people's death more than any black person in the United States. Because based on that stuff, which he's a part of the reason that stuff goes on today, he's going to ascend to the presidency. And it literally makes no sense. At least Trump went in there and bought the presidency and went up there and talked trash on people and slung mud. He earned it. You know what I'm saying? He went in there and got nasty. Biden is pretty much just walking in. He's not offering you any. Biden has no plan for America or black people, period. And I don't understand why people would support that. He has zero plan.
Guys, let me check the email. Again, if you guys want to call in, email is uhuru@searchforuhuru.com. Again, uhuru@searchforuhuru.com.
Why is it that we bring up when Donald Trump did with the Central Park Five? He's an old white fart. Of course he thought they did. I'm sure every white man thought they did. But why is it that when we bring up the racist thing Biden does, it's just whatever? The difference between Trump and Biden was Trump was not able to pass legislation that directly impacted black people. Biden was. Your mamas, your daddies, your brothers, your cousins, every black person in this chat knows somebody who's in the penitentiary. Why? Because of the policies Joe Biden wrote and Bill Clinton passed into law. He had a major effect on our existence. And I'm telling you, why would you put two people who have a history of doing nothing more than throwing black people in jail? Why would you put those two people on top of this country, impacting what happens to you? Do you realize that presidents not only sign things into law, they also veto things? So if something good for you does come down the pipeline, Kamala has already said that she's going to veto it. Biden has already said he's going to veto it. So you're basically stopping yourself up from every angle because you forget these people's beliefs will determine what they allow to come through. And the executive branch of government has the power to veto any legislation, no matter what the vote is in Congress or the Senate.
Okay. Now, Donald Trump recently contracted COVID. How do you think that's going to help hurt his election?
Man, I think really it was I think there's some funny business involved in that because they were saying like Donald Trump was asymptomatic, meaning he doesn't have any symptoms of COVID. And then suddenly, like, the only person he was near was Joe Biden, but Joe Biden was up there looking like a straight up corpse, and somehow he doesn't have COVID. So people don't understand that political allegiance runs deep. And Donald Trump has made a lot of enemies of people in the healthcare profession. So I really think they could have just said, yeah, we'll show him, and just pumped out a positive test. I mean, really, What's to stop them? I know people who didn't even take the test. They signed up for the test, didn't end up making it to take the test, and end up getting a positive result in the mail, but never took a test. So we know that these tests are very fallible. They're very shaky. But at the end of the day, Donald Trump is going to get the best health care in the world. He should make a recovery. His wife should make a recovery. And he's still sending emails to me on my email talking about the trash to Biden. So the dude is looking like he's doing just fine. But what I believe it's going to do, Dine, is it's going to have the reverse effect of what the Democrats thought, because they keep trying to push this idea about Trump not believing the virus is real. But I think it's going to have a humanizing effect on Trump, because immediately when it was confirmed that he had COVID-19, a lot of leaders from around the world started sending out their condolences, wishing him a speedy recovery, telling him to get well soon and everything like that. So people love a sad story, right? And people love a recovery story or a story of triumph. So I believe that this is going to make people look at Donald Trump like, yo, this guy is really a human being, and he deals with regular things like people do. And even though, let me tell you something, Donald Trump caught COVID because Donald Trump is willing to work to retain the presidency. He's still out there doing the big rallies. He's still getting on planes. When you think of the idea that a dude who's like almost 80 years old is doing as much work as Donald Trump is doing, I mean, Dinas, getting on and off airplanes is a very exhausting thing, right or wrong?
Right. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
for Donald Trump, even though he got Air Force One, you got to imagine the protocols he has to go through, the amount of security detail he has to go through, the little nuances he has to go through just to make it on the plane, then off the plane, flying for hours and hours. That is a lot of work for a 70-plus-year-old person. So I think Donald Trump is like a harder worker than most people in America. Like, I would hire him at my company because I don't even know if I could do all that traveling and flying and talking and yelling and screaming while having time to tweet things out and curse people. That guy is a hard worker, and that's why he is successful, and that's why he's the president right now, and I think he'll retain the presidency. He's a hard worker. And Joe Biden, he can't even get nobody to show up to his damn rallies. So that's it. But yeah, Braveheart, me defending Trump is priceless. But what's worth more than that is me just laying the facts out for you, and you going straight past them mentally to get to a place of emotion so you can continue to do what you're doing, which is resulting in nothing. Now that's priceless because it's literally worth nothing.
All right, so Kala, I sent the link to you, and Willie Fungo, I also sent the link to you. So if you guys want to call in, click on that link and jump on the stream.
So
also, too,
everybody who contracted coronavirus was just careless because
I contracted it.
Right. So Donna, you were just careless. All these people getting corona were just careless. Man, that's the dumbest thing ever. But that's how it is. The rules don't apply when it comes to Donald Trump. And that's the problem with a lot of our people. They try to switch up the rules when it comes to certain people, but then go out and get upset and complain when other people switch the rules on them. We don't even understand that the karmic debt involved with the way Black people operate is probably one of the major things holding us down, because we live lives that are full of hypocrisy. And even though you might get away with it and you might go somewhere in your life doing that, the universe never forgets. And that's why you go sit right at the bottom until you start dealing with things with class and dignity and not just raw, unfiltered emotion.
Guys, again, hit that like button. And also, if you guys are interested in joining us in Sierra Leone, April 21st to the 30th, go to searchforwhowever.com. Again, go to searchforwhoever.com. Send me an email, include your phone number, and I will give you a call, and we will get you guys. I will get you all the information needed so that you can join us in Sierra Leone, everyone. So, Brandon, you still think Trump's going to win?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to win. There's a lot of people looking at the polling. If you look at the polls right now, Trump is in the same exact position he was in with Hillary. And I really think people are not as passionate about Biden as they were about Hillary. What people don't understand is that Hillary, a lot of what she did was based on the fact that she got like all of the majority, a lot of the female vote, right? But when it comes to two men running for office, women pretty much just vote whoever their husband votes for. And I believe that all the hardworking people in America really are looking at Trump like, yo, he's the only choice, because no one knows what's going to happen with Biden, because Biden doesn't tell you anything. At least Trump, we got 4 years of experience. We got a guy who we kind of seen what he's all about. He's into going hard on different countries. I mean, Trump was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Come on, man, a Nobel Peace Prize. While Obama wasn't nominated for that because he was bombing everybody, bombing schools and stuff. So
I thought Obama won. I thought Obama won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Hell no. Hell no. Obama bombed, man. Look, I'm gonna fact check that. Let me. I don't want Mr. Information.
I think Obama won a Nobel.
Let's look. I don't want Mr. Information, man, getting on me. Win the Nobel. Let's see. Maybe he did. Oh, you're right. He did win.
Yeah, he won it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For strengthening international diplomacy. Yeah, 2009. But guess what? Same time, the guy's bombing everybody and everything like that. So that shows you. But Trump won the same thing. So you're telling me Trump didn't win, but Trump was nominated. So we got to be real about what we're doing. You don't got to worry about North Korea threatening to bomb you every 5 minutes. Why? That's because Donald Trump. They did a 3-year investigation saying he was in collusion with the Russians. That turned out to be a lie. I mean, everything they've thrown at Trump has turned out to not be true. And so I asked Black people, if these people are so hungry for power that they would lie on somebody and waste your taxpayer dollars to prove that this person did something they didn't do, how can you say they care about you? If I was telling Dinus today, this guy, Joe Biden, got on stage and called the president of the United States a clown. If that dude has that much disregard for the president of the United States, who's a billionaire, what do you think he thinks of you? If he's looking at Trump like, this guy's a clown, he ain't nothing, what do you think Joe Biden thinks about you? And what Joe Biden was doing was showing you his actual character and that he doesn't care about you. And I want people to get on to tell me, if we remove Trump, let's remove Trump. I'm not going to talk about Trump the rest of the day. What does Biden offer? Anything, please. One thing he does. Does he even have an offer on the table? Has he promised you anything? Somebody tell me. Tell me.
Again, you guys are free to call in. I mean, by all means, you're free to call in and challenge Brandon. Search for Hoover.com. You know, Donald Trump, he should have brought up the whole, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black situation.
Here's the thing. Maybe Biden was taken out of context when he said it, maybe, right? But why do you need to bring that up when he has a history of saying worse things? If you can pull up Biden talking about black people so bad, bro, on the internet. I thought they were gonna scrub YouTube of all those videos, but they didn't. I mean, literally, you got Biden groping little kids, talking about black people, talking about their animals, talking about they need to be locked up. He doesn't care if he put crack in their communities. They need to be locked up. His sons have to compete with black people. I mean, any way you look at it. Kamala Harris's running mate called him a racist. She actually talked about how his racism impacted her. Literally tell me, where does it go? Where does it go? How does a black person sit in their house and say, man, I know that this guy is basically the leader of the KKK, but this other dude hurt my feelings. I don't like the way he treats his wife. He cheats on his wife. Like, come on, man. It's the dumbest thing ever. And no, I'm not a proud boy. And let me tell you something, guys. You can say whatever you want about me and all this. But one thing about me is I'm okay to admit when I'm wrong. That's a part of being a man. Now, why don't you people be men and women and say, look, we are wrong. Joe Biden is never going to be a good candidate. He hates black people. We need to just not support this dude, period. That's part of being a man or a woman. Being able to admit you was wrong, you was misinformed, or you have misinformation, and acting based on that. Not what we do, double down on ignorance, and then complain later. And I'm telling you, Dinus, the day after the election, these same black people are going to be complaining about Joe Biden. Because if you don't realize, Joe Biden was vice president under Obama. If he wanted to do something for you, he could have done that. The vice president really has no job. All he does is sit around. He picks and chooses what he wants to fight for. But Joe Biden looking like a skeleton, and y'all voting for this dude as if this guy is about to really, do something, which all the guy does, Dinus, is get on stage and talk about climate change. That's how you know he has no real agenda. Climate change. The one thing everybody is supporting. And if you understand politics, when they talk about climate change, what they're trying to do is attract moderate voters, people who are still conservatives or Republican, but they care about certain issues like climate change, different environmental legislation. So they're trying to woo those people over. He don't got time for you because he wants the Latino vote and he wants the moderate vote and the female vote. The black vote is none of his concern. That's why if you go to JoeBiden.com and look up his plan for African Americans, it's talking about nothing but the environment.
Okay, so guys, I sent the link out. Again, people in the chat room who disagree with Brandon, you're more than welcome to call in. All right, Uhuru at search for Uhuru.com, Uhuru at search for Uhuru.com. Call in and state your piece.
Oh,
go ahead, Colin.
What up?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Brandon? What's up, Dinas? What's up, Search for Uhuru people? How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Spitting fire, man. Brandon spitting fire. I could retire now. Shit. The thing is, here's the thing, right? About Joe Biden and Trump. Like I said, if we can all agree to be like, if you like Biden, if you like Trump, fine. But if you say, you know something, I'm kind of feeling what Donald Trump is saying. He's the first president in our history that actually talks directly to Black America. He's the first president that offered something on the table, which a Congressional Black Caucus and all of them refused to meet with him, right? Now, my problem, I was telling you, Dinas, right? I really don't think, I've learned a lot over the last 4 years, right? I always thought we had some leaders up there in Washington fighting for us and stuff like that. And there was people out there making plans. And then I was wondering, why is everything so fucked up in our communities, right? And then it dawned on me, these people that we call our so-called leaders don't give a friggin' rat's ass about the communities. They have you can't get rid of them because they're in Democrat. More and more Black people moving out of these majority Black districts, right? So who's there are the people who are most dependent on the system and everything. And the Democrat Party is just like a plantation. It tells you if you go along with the party line, just like what happened with Kwame and Fume a couple of years ago, right? Anytime you go outside the thing, they're going to replace you, right? Other than that, you got a lifetime appointment in a congressional district. Now, let me tell you something why that's so important. Your congressman is your representative to the government. This is not a democracy. This is a republic, right? The way this was set up, right, it was supposed to be decentralized government. Your state and local representatives, the state and local governments have the most power over your life, right? The federal government handles things of state, international things, right? The taxes, right? The military, all these things, right? The only thing you give up freedom, right? And you get liberty. America says about liberty, like liberty. Liberty and freedom are two different things, right? Freedom means I could drive 100 miles an hour down the road. You can't tell me what to drive. Freedom means I could put some tags on my car and say that I'm an indigenous Mo, right? From Morocco and the Moroccan government. That's what, our freedom. That's these sovereign citizens, right? But liberty means I could do all these things, right? I could have the basic things in life, pursue what I want to do. I could move around. I could do all these things, right? Within the confines of the law. And I think that's what anybody in this world wants. They want liberty, right? Liberty is two different things. Now, your congressman, right, is supposed to be your representation to the federal government. And if your district or your area is not improving, he's not bringing the bacon home back to your district, right? If things are improving, you replace him. That's why a congressman only gets 2 years, right? The average white congressman spends 4 terms in Congress and he's removed, right? Primary removed, or another party gets sweeping back and forth. In the Black community, there's no such thing. So there's no incentive for them to do anything for you. So that's what it is. And that's why you have the situation you have in Maryland, right? Where the Black political class has just completely destroyed the Black political infrastructure in the state of Maryland. It's a joke. It's a complete joke.
Well, look at everywhere around the United States. I mean, everywhere you see a Democratic Black congressman or woman, the neighborhood is terrible. I live in California. Look at Maxine Waters' district. You guys walk around calling her Aunt Maxine, Go walk through her district at night. And when you get your brains blown out, either by a black or a Mexican person, you're going to understand. Maxine Waters don't care about you. Maxine Waters been in office for 30 years. She almost been in office almost as long as Joe Biden, and she hasn't done anything. So all I'm saying to all these people who are so much more, I will tell you, you guys are smarter than I am, because and you guys have more faith in me, because anyone who believes that somebody who's been in office 47 years and hasn't done anything but spew racism towards you is all of a sudden going to do something different in the next 8 years, right? Like Biden is past the point of no return. It's like, have you ever tried to change your grandpa's mind on something? You can't change an old person. They've been the way they are too long. So while Biden says exactly what he has to say, he actually believes you want to be treated like slaves, because he's probably looking at himself in the mirror saying, how in the world am I getting this much support from black people after all I've done? And Al Harris, you're 100% right. Look at John Lewis's district. It's the same all over the United States. Go to Chicago. Time after time, African American congressmen and representatives in the neighborhood still look like trash. These are Democrats.
Yeah, also, go ahead. 1 second, Kyle. Go ahead, B1 Blaze. B1 Blaze. All right, go ahead, Colin. I just listen, guys. When you call in, when you guys call in, have your stuff together, please. Oh wait, hold on. B1 Blaze, go ahead. B1 Blaze. Golly, man. All right, guys. When you call in, have your stuff together. Have your stuff together, please.
Now, John Conyers was elected to Congress when my parents were dating in high school. 1964. They went to the 64 World's Fair. That's when John Conyers entered Congress.
Hold on, the World's Fair in Chicago?
No, the World's Fair in New York City, Flushing, Queens. It's still there. Big giant globe. They had the monorail there. It was something else. Go on YouTube, look it up. 64 World's Fair in Flushing, Jamaica, Queens, Flushing, Queens. My parents went to the 64 World's Fair when John Conyers entered Congress. That's how long ago. Man, and he died. He died in office, right? I think a year ago.
He died this year.
This year.
He died this year. Yeah, he died this year.
Yeah, this year, But the whole thing is look at Detroit. Look at Detroit. Nothing. Black people have suffered, and it's not my fault. What they always do is they always deflect, right? The worst thing we ever had in Black America is the so-called Black political class. Them and the Hollywood elite and these people that influencers and everything like that. It's all about them, power and everything. They have no plan, no intention of doing it. That's why they're in no position to tell somebody to if they want to go to the African continent and start all over again. They're in no position to stop that, because we've given America 400 years, right?
Do people realize, like, I just want to speak like to everybody. Do people realize that what me and Kala and Dynas are saying is a representation of what it means to get off of the plantation? Stop thinking emotionally. Think with your brain. There were always slaves who told the slave that was ready to run away why he shouldn't leave the plantation, right? And when you talk about getting off of the Democratic plantation, that doesn't mean you go hop back on the Republicans. That just means you go to the side that's willing to do something for you. At the basis of everything is deregulation. What you got to understand is there's a tricky game that's been played in America. White people made trillions and then set rules and put rules in place that prevents anyone else from making the kind of money they made. One of those rules is climate change. If they could tell you that if you do what they did before to get rich, that somehow it's going to destroy the planet.
Yeah, right.
That's preventing you from ever achieving what they were able to achieve, right?
Let me say something to that, Brandon, right? I've been saying this now since when I discovered the climate change hoax back when they remember this, Al Gore spearheaded the world population.
Yeah.
The guy that drives around on what's it called, a Gulfstream jet plane, talking about the earth is all these people, right? You don't understand there's liberal people call themselves liberal, left wing, white supremacists. It all has to do the same thing. Planned Parenthood is a thing about population control. the climate change and all these things about what overpopulation has to do with the fact that we need to reduce the world. And where was the population conference held? Cairo, Egypt, on the African continent. I remember they were going to African villages, right, injecting black girls in the villages, African girls in the villages with Norplant, you know, saying and telling them to stop producing. The whole thing is the idea. The whole thing is, in order for Europe to survive, Africa has to be deindustrialized, right? Africa is a natural place to build the world's industries, right? To feed the world. Sudan, the south of Sudan, is the most fertile place on the planet, right? I thought back then that, oh wow, soon as we're gonna figure this out. Ethiopia, the dam, that could be a game changer, right? But the thing is, the fertile land of the South Sudan could feed the world. That's how fertile it is, right? And the climate and everything. Africa is natural to build modern food industries, right? It does not have to always be in Europe and Asia. But the thing is, the world sees if Africa does this, right, that's going to put Europe in peril, right? Because if we can manufacture cars for a tenth of what it costs to export the iron ore and all the stuff like that to Europe and all these other places and everything, and then Europe wouldn't have no car industry. Then what would they do? What future would it be like? All the European, like France, their pension funds, everything is tied to African commodities, chocolate, and all these other things that the French control. And they give Africans lines of credit with their currency that's tied to them. So the whole system is about reducing African population. They'll give them visas to visit the West, you know. The main thing is they would rather have a whole bunch of Africans and people flooding into Europe and Germany than to let the Africans develop their own country. That's what you're fighting against. That's why Africa is not developed. This idea that good brother.
I was gonna say that you remember when George Bush gave like $20 billion to Africa to fight against HIV and AIDS? Like, and black people really hated George Bush, right? I don't see any Republicans or conservatives, right? And this is not saying I'm a Republican or a conservative. I'm none of those. I'm a Pan-Africanist person. But I don't see any Republicans or conservatives over in Africa trying to inject people with anything, trying to depopulate Africa, nothing. The only people I see doing that are liberal, democratic people. Like I really believe the Republicans just don't give a damn about black people enough to where they're just like, leave those niggers to their own devices, right? Let them do whatever they're going to do. The Democrats are making a concerted effort to negatively impact black people. They have an anti-black agenda. It's always been this way. You can go throughout history and hear Democratic elected officials, you know, calling us niggers and talking bad about us and doing all sorts of stuff. And it's like, if we're ever really going to do everything we say we're going to do, we don't need you to go vote Republican. What we need you to do is start thinking and not supporting the things that go against your best interest. See, and that's really what it is. It's not so much what you should do that's going to impact your future, but it's really just the things you just shouldn't do. Like, don't jump behind a known racist claiming you're trying to get rid of another known racist, right? And don't give up the potential to make a difference for yourselves in some effort to save the planet. And there was someone on here talking, you know, there were people in the comments actually arguing about climate control. And if they want to stop climate control, the first people they should go talk to is the billionaire oil company owners, because those are the people doing the most damage to the planet, period, right? But nobody stops driving their car. All these black people driving cars, you know what I'm saying?
SUV.
Helping destroy the planet. Suddenly they're like, yo, they wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I got this great idea. Why don't we start worrying about the environment? And then you realize that you're just being programmed. See, when you look at me, Dynas, and Kala, we are people who programmed ourselves. We did research, and programmed our own minds. And there's a saying that if you don't program yourself, someone else will program you. And what you're witnessing is people who have been programmed by someone else because they don't have time to program themselves, because they got to go to work in the morning, or I got to take care of my kids and all this type of stuff. And what it boils down to, Kyle, is we don't want to be responsible or accountable for anything.
Nope.
So what we rather do is push all accountability onto the white man. Me, I'm telling you, take advantage and take accountability and responsibility for your own life. And when you start doing that, you're not going to care who's sitting in the White House. All you're going to care about is how it impacts your pockets.
And check this out.
All that matters.
Let me say something. Back in why am I echoing? Okay. Check
Is that you again, Brandon?
No, sir.
Check
All right. Yeah. Go ahead, Carla.
Okay, now back in after when the World Population Conference, and I was with the Charlotte Science Institute back at the time, right? That's when I was getting my education, you know. Permaculture, right? There's scientists that say we could solve the ozone layer and stuff like that, because there's stuff like that, some truth to it, right? But the extremists, right, latched onto it. The Mother Earth people who think the world is, or the Malthusians of the world, they think that the solution is killing off all the people and wiping out humanity is going to save the earth, right? Which is a lie. Now, there's a thing called permaculture, right? Planting trees. I don't know if anybody knows about this. Several countries like Ethiopia and even the state of Israel, planted something like around 500 million trees, right? In the Nobel desert, right? Green the place, produce oxygen, right? Water and everything. That's technologies out there which solve the problem. And not only that, how they do it, right? Is they can do it from the air, tiny little capsules. They shoot into the ground, and basically what happens is the tree grows up, right? And you can plant trees. The more trees you plant, if you cut down trees, plant them, right? That would solve that problem. But the thing is, the people that want climate change, they don't want to hear anything about that. When you bring that up to them, oh, that ain't gonna work. So what's your solution? Well, we need to get rid of all this. I said, you're gonna get rid of your cars. You're gonna get rid of your airplanes. You're gonna get rid of all the stuff that you have right now. Are you really serious about this? And then all of a sudden they're like, well, we got to do it. And it's all about emotionalism. It's all about this. There's this idea that there's somebody up on top destroying the planet, and we got to stop this. What they don't realize is you have electricity. Most of the electricity we have in this country is from clean coal. You know, you shut down the coal industry, you know what I'm saying? We don't have any lights, you know? And this idea that renewable energy is still an experiment. It's not enough, right? Industries need electricity, power, factories need it, homes need it. The whole grid relies on energy, you know, coal, natural gas, you know, nuclear, all the stuff like that. If you don't know about these things, right, and you think everything is, oh, science and technology, it's another thing is this. Why is it that black people, we always say that we gave the world science, we gave the world
right. Imhotep.
But when it comes down to science, and we don't know anything about math, we don't know anything about science, we don't even know about logic. The first thing about algebra and everything is logic. When we make decisions, even politically, black people are so illogical. You know, we don't believe in reason and logic. There was an age of reason and enlightenment for a reason. You know, so therefore we don't want to be reason and logic. Everything's emotional. You know, we don't every other people have a 100-year plan. Well, this is going to affect the next generation. You talk to grown black people, 20s, 30s, and 40s. What's the plan? There is none. So Donald Trump approaches you $500 billion. Let's just start targeting inner cities and everything. Just because it's not going to immediately come into your pocket, or no one's going to give you $80,000 in your bank account. Oh, I don't need it. Because you're not thinking about your community.
Hey, my grandma always used to say, black folks rather own 100% of nothing than 5% of something. And that is the mindset that we really have. We rather stay hopeless and helpless than actually start doing the work to get ourselves to a better place. It's going to take work on your part, but I want to let Darius talk. I don't want to.
I want to hear this.
Yeah, so I would like to address a couple of points. The first point has to deal with the climate change. When Colin says, you know, we can build trees and stuff, grow trees and sort of harvest them, do arboriculture. Nobody's opposing arboriculture. I'm a climate activist, and I don't oppose arboriculture. What we're saying is that in and of itself is not enough. When we talk about transitioning, we're talking about to biomass, to wind energy, to tidal, marine, ocean energy. We're talking about using thermal from the ocean floor because the ocean floor has vents. We're talking about a fundamental change in how we do things. No, yet we're still using cars that are primarily running on oil and gas. But that's due.
Darius, let me ask you a question. Let me ask a simple question, right? Now, there's whole countries in Africa and other countries are solving their problems on their own, right? These the only segment of the world that still are victim of all this nonsense is Africa and black people. You know, India just showed you how they could do it, right? Myanmar, all these people took their little streams and everything, made hydro energy, you know, and electrified the country and everything. Now, if all these people, like you say, oceanatics, thing, geothermal, how come that these same people can't come up with the money to do a test run in African countries? Why can't they do that?
They don't want to put the money into it. That's
so if they don't want to put the money into it, how are we going to trust them to change everything we doing right there and show an example of how it works?
Can I ask a bigger question?
I wouldn't say particularly like the major global organizations, but you do have climate activists in Africa, such as that teenage girl in Uganda that's doing the work too. So there are Africans on the ground that are doing that.
Darius, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that when it comes to population, right? Would you agree with the fact that black people are probably the least aggressors against, like the perpetuators of climate deterioration on the planet? Like facts.
It's European,
right? So what I want to tell you is climate change is something the white man dominates the world, right? The white man is the person who's gonna have to deal with climate change because he holds the keys to the car. That's like you sitting in the back seat trying to drive. And what they're gonna call you, a backseat driver. We in the back seat. We ain't controlling which way the car go. The driver is. Meanwhile, we could be focusing on our own problems, but you're allowing them to pull you in to things that you really have no control of. So most people in Africa don't even own a car, right? But everybody in America and Europe does. So unless you're about to go declare war on the white man, put him to death to keep him from polluting and killing the planet, you might as well stop talking about the climate because there's nothing you can do other than echo the crap white people are talking about, which is 100% hypocritical because they're destroying the planet while they're making you feel like you should waste your life fighting to save it so that they can keep on fighting for the reality, for the real value, for the real prize.
Like Michael Moore.
Yeah.
Michael Moore makes a movie about Wall Street when that, he makes like what, $50 million a film, you know?
Right.
So about capitalism, capital love story, but yet he makes a $50 million film. It's hypocrisy.
Well, can I respond to that? Even when you talk about Michael Moore making $50 million, he doesn't own the oil fields, even though he doesn't.
Kyle, let him finish, Kyle. I mean, let him finish, bro.
Yeah, he doesn't own the means of production, and there have been plenty of groups such as the Sierra Conservation, the Sunrise Movement, the Green Party. There are groups that are addressing that issue in European countries. Greta Thunberg is an example in Sweden. We're seeing this in the Netherlands and in Germany. They are addressing that issue because it's a global issue. Because my question is this. Okay, so let's say, for example, you have the Sahara dust, or let's say that you have a monsoon region in Africa that's raining really hard. That moves to the west, and then it enters into the Atlantic, which then enters into the Caribbean, which then enters into the Gulf of Mexico. The reality of it. Kala, can you please stop talking when I'm talking? I'm not interrupting you. Okay. The point of the reality of it is we live in a global system. So those weather issues that are in Europe are going to affect Africa because they go into the weather patterns. So they're going to affect the jet streams. So what are we supposed to do?
Look, tell your white friends in Greenpeace to tell their white dads to stop cutting down all the damn trees, and you wouldn't have to worry about that. That's what we keep trying to tell you. We are not causing that. We're not doing that. We're not chopping down whole rainforests to make pencils, okay? We're not doing that. That's what white people are doing. You can't control the white man what he's going to do. He's making you fight a pointless battle. He's making you fight. It's like feminism. You fighting for something that is actually being dictated to you by rich old white people. They do the killing and then get you and convince you to go fight to stop it. But they're doing
Brandon,
it.
let me say something. Let me say something.
Well, hold on, y'all. Hold on. I want to hear Sister Wahida. Go ahead. Go ahead, Wahida. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm hopping in the conversation real quick. I think I missed a little bit of it, but I think that it's important to understand the gentleman who was just speaking. We do have to pay attention to what is going on that white folks are doing, because if it affects us, we have to have defense mechanisms or counter mechanisms in place, and we have to keep up with what's happening that they're causing. So, for example, I know we were talking about permaculture and planting trees whenever we cut down trees and things like that. I was just watching a documentary that I had mentioned. It's called Kiss the Soil. It's on Netflix. Y'all should watch that. And it's basically talking about how Eurasian people destroyed the planet with industrial agriculture and all of that. And all of these different mechanisms that they are now putting in place to resolve the issue, the carbon emissions and all of that stuff. And I was thinking in my head from an Afrocentric perspective watching this, how we as African people, a lot of the things that they're talking about as solutions are things we would naturally have been doing already. And I think that we definitely need to be thinking about.
Let me ask you a question. Where?
What do you mean? Where? This was talking about
this
was a global. It was talking about globally, but they were focusing on different people in America.
You mentioned Africa. Where is it? Like, this is what I was trying to tell Brandon, right? There are plans, scientific plans that could solve Africa's problems and bring development like that. They're on the books, you know.
Well, the problem is Africa is trying to catch up to the rest of the world, and they're trying to pick up industrial agricultural practices that are actually detrimental to.
Well, how? Let me ask you a question. How is that detrimental?
I'm sorry, industrial agriculture.
You say aquaponics. Aquaponics is detrimental.
No, I'm talking about pesticides for your mass farming.
Let me ask
the way they
till
the soil.
Agribusiness. She's talking about agribusiness.
Hold on.
The way they till the soil, we're talking about how it disrupts the carbon.
Let me ask you a question about that, right? All due respect, right? A few years ago, right, Liberia was hit with a problem with army worms. You know army worms are? It wiped out half the crops. Wiped out half the crops. Planted the crops and everything. They used no pesticides, and the army worms, locusts, and everything wiped it out. How do you deal with that?
The locust, yeah.
Okay, Derek, tell us how exactly do you deal with these things that basically scientists have tried to do for thousands of years. This is thousands of years they've been battling with.
Well, let me give you an example of what I think we could be doing. So, for example, they were talking about how when white people came to Americas, they wiped out all the buffalo, right? And they were talking about how the buffalo, they used to graze the land and walk on the soil and all of these different things that were natural to the land that kept, the soil well and healthy.
And I agree with that.
I was thinking about how, we have, for example, in Africa, we have predominantly Fulanis who they use their cattle and they're nomadic peoples and they go and they graze and do all these different things. And I'm thinking about how we can start applying real life solutions with the ethnic groups that we already have and the practices that we already have.
Can I ask you a question? Kala, let me ask her a question real quick. Wahida, so I like the point you brought up about the Native Americans and the white man coming to wipe out the buffalo, right? Now, you said we have to be concerned about climate change. Another person in the comments said the same thing. Now, let me ask you this question. I want you to give me a one-word answer, then I'm going to ask you the second question. When the white man was wiping out the buffalo, don't you think the Indian was concerned?
Well, yeah, of course they were.
Okay, so, but now here's the second question. Don't you think the Indian would have been better off putting himself in a position where he could fight the white man and keep him from destroying the buffalo?
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. We have to be concerned with what they are doing.
Okay,
that's an unfair critique. That's an unfair critique and analysis.
Wait, Darius. What I'm trying to say is, it's one thing to be concerned. All the black people in the comments are concerned.
I don't want to be concerned. I want to be able.
Hold on. They're unwilling to do the work that it's going to take to actually be in a position where you are able to make the decisions as to what happens. You can be concerned. Black people was concerned about slavery. Yeah, we were slaves. We was concerned about lynching. Yeah, we still getting lynched.
You're absolutely right. I think we're perpetually behind the 8 ball. We're worried about concerns after the fact, as opposed to being able to adequately respond in real time.
Well, it's not.
I'll respond to that. Can I respond to that, please?
Go ahead, Darius.
Can I respond to that? Yeah, I think Brandon, I kind of agree with you in a certain way. Like, I feel like the problem with us as Black people is we're always the last ones to arrive. We're never the first to address or look stuff ahead. And like I said, a huge issue or an issue that affects globally, but I feel like we need to be ahead. We need to plan ahead and make the preparations. So, for example, sea rise. When the ocean rises a couple feet and it engulfs cities across the world, we just gonna let Cape Town go, because Cape Town ran out of water due to the drought. What you gonna do? Like, you have to respond to those. You have to be ready.
But we're not.
One of the things. So I want to.
Yeah, we're not ready. But I agree with you, Brandon. We're not ready.
Let me say something. Let me answer that. Now, look, the second time I tried to address Darius, I hadn't got my point across. Let me say this, right? Nigeria, the great former governor of Lagos, Nigeria, Babatunde Fashola, right? His administration saw that part of Victoria Island was sinking. You know what he did? He used the technology that was out there, right, and built a seawall called the Great Wall of Lagos, right, around Lagos, right? And now, right there at Echo Atlantic, they're building a new city on there, land reclamation. So he said, either we just basically pack up and move out of Lagos, right, or we take the science that we have right here and adapt to it. What I hear from these climate change people, they don't talk about solutions like that and solve the problem, right? Basically, they planned miles of lost coastline. They reclaimed it, right, and built a huge seawall. Look it up. I've been following it since 2008. You know, so therefore the problem solved. But
Colin,
with these climate change get us into that thing.
Climate change is an industry, Colin. Climate change is a big industry.
It's a myth.
And Obama
gave targeted towards Black people because they don't want to see Africans.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
No, go ahead, Wahida. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I missed the part where the conversation turned into climate change, but I wanted to respond to, can Joe Biden save Black Americans? I think we're all, reached a consensus. No, he cannot. I think what African Americans need to do is, so for example, like I'm in St. Thomas right now, and what Black Americans need to do is travel and connect with the Black people everywhere on the planet. And once you start doing that, you'll start seeing opportunities in which we can start trading, industries that we can improve upon. Because like even here, there's ample opportunity to do a whole bunch of things. And I'm seeing, particularly in, from a tourist perspective, and I'm talking with locals, the white people, Indian people, whomever, they managed to infiltrate. I'm in St. Thomas right now. Okay. And they managed to infiltrate every aspect of society and figure out a way. Excuse me?
They own the islands. I think the Barbados is about to become a republic.
I don't care who owns the island. White people own America. But what I'm saying is we need to stop worrying about voting anything as a solution. We need to start thinking globally and connecting with African peoples where we are, and creating those opportunities.
Some people are thinking globally, but the problem is those who are like the most ignorant among us. When the people are thinking globally, start talking as a global collective, they can't get past their individual.
All right. Well, you can't. I mean, what makes you think we're going to reach every person? There's going to be an ignorant population, just like there's ignorant white folks. That white folks still dominate everything, right? So we don't need to worry about those people.
Intelligent white people run the things. The thing is, out in Black America, is the ignorant Black people run Black America. That's the difference. They empower the ignorant.
The ignorant people have the most babies. Go to the projects. Everybody got 7 kids. Go to the area where the middle class Black families, they got 1 or 2. So we have a situation where our
you know what, and I understand that problem, but at least they're procreating, right? Because thanks to them, we're not on the decline like white people. Now, I'm not saying ignorant people should be having kids and all of that. I understand that point. But at least we're not declining and dying off.
The
Right?
thing is, people, Wahida, the thing is, people, what we don't understand is the only reason I come online is because I know that out there are people who truly don't know what to think or do when it comes to these issues. And
that's
so
okay.
I just
That's
try
okay
to,
because that's why you're here. So what are you worried about those
so,
people who
so it's
don't know
not
what
that I
to do?
think, so it's not that I think that I'm going to convince everybody, but there are people out there who really want to make a difference and really want to go out and work for our people. And so we're just kind of like a beacon of light, because if we're not here, then what else do our people absorb? Talking about Karen all day, or talking about
Right.
who's the latest celebrity,
Or
whatever.
Joe Biden, right?
Yeah, or whatever.
Okay.
So you got to make an outlet for people who think like you, or else they feel like they're just here by themselves, right? But black people
Right.
are trying to go in two different directions at the same time, trying to limp upon two opinions, and you're just not going to be
Absolutely.
able to do it. We want to straddle the
Absolutely.
fence, and it's costing us our lives instead of
Hey,
just.
So I
Brandon.
think so I think that Darius's point. For example, when you're talking about like climate change, I wouldn't call myself a climate change person per se, but I think that there needs to be a group of us, like yourself, Kala, Dynas, even this brother Darius. I don't know, I can't see your face, but paying attention to what the white science is talking about, paying attention to what the hegemonic society is doing, paying attention to what's happening in the world, how it's affecting things, and paying attention to obviously analyzing and critiquing this from an Afrocentric perspective so that we can handle and manage it in a way that best suits us, right? Or gives us the best outcome. That's what we need to start doing.
Can I say
So I
something
think
too?
go,
Oh, I'm
go
sorry
ahead.
if I interrupted. Oh, what I was going to say was the same conversation that we're having, especially like us being global, thinking going back to Africa and all that stuff. We've been having this conversation for about 240 something years. We've been talking about like we're still on this whether or not
Okay,
we should go
so
back. Like we should stay in America and fight. And it's like, no, I'm at the
Some
point
people,
where
some people, some people are
I
not ready
mean,
for the
if you want
concept.
to stay
Some
in
people need to
America,
stay right
stay in
around here.
America. But
Stay in.
but but you
Not
got to
every
be
concept is
realistic.
not
Your
for everybody.
solutions are going to be somewhere outside of America. Like
Well,
at some point,
But
we've
it's
got
always
to come to
we
that
take you
resolve.
with you. The people that can go and contribute, please, by all means, go.
the
Some
pop.
Negroes need to stay right here.
The reality is we are doing the work right now, and the work is being done. The more people talk about we need to, we should, well, there are already people doing it, and we need to stop with this we talk, and we need to ask a real question like, what am I doing? I mean, personally, I'm going to Africa, it's right here coming soon. I got my ticket and everything. Now, everybody who's talking the same thing I'm talking, who's not making a plan to go or strategizing a plan to make something happen, you need to ask yourself a question. If I'm not a person who's coming with a solution, why am I steady talking down the people who are, right?
Right.
Einstein said,
Definitely.
got a problem for every solution.
I think
yeah, we
you're
always
absolutely
do.
right. What am I doing? All of us, everyone on this line right now has the ability to continue to learn, acquire new knowledge, and implement that knowledge that we acquire. So one of the things for me that I think is very important, we were talking about defense, right? For me, I would like to see us doing things like once we get the ball rolling and we got things going on, how are we going to protect it? Because they're going to come for it. They're coming for it right now. We're not protecting it. They're going to come for it when we start protecting it. So I think about defense a lot.
Well, we should
One of the
focus.
things I'm interested in.
We should focus on getting the ball rolling first.
One of the things I'm interested in, Brandon, is monitoring things from satellites from space, which I don't know if you know, but the United States just opened up a new branch called the United States the Space Division. And
go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm just saying that now they're starting to take things into the next. I don't know if you follow SpaceX and all these different things, but they monitor agriculture. They monitor all kinds of different things from space through satellites. So things like that. What are we doing as Africans to?
Nope.
Yeah, see, and what we do a lot is we like to put the cart before the horse, right? It's
Right.
like we don't even got one factory anywhere. Like
we don't have one bank on the African.
We don't got anything. No, there's
We don't even have a space program. We don't have a space program.
Like, there's Nigerian, but See, and that's what I'm saying. And Darius, that's what I'm saying to you. It's like the same thing I was going to say to her. We're worried about a bunch of stuff that we have no control over. And I have this. There's a video I made on my channel called "The Wisdom to Know the Difference," and I made that video because I thought about things in terms of like somebody going to like an AA meeting. God grant me the serenity to accept. To what is it? Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. A lot of us don't have the wisdom to know the difference. It doesn't matter, Darius. I like talking to you, but a lot of the things you bring up, we don't have the power to change it. It's like we gotta let it's none of our concern at this point. Chinese people ain't worried about it, so why should we worry about it? And then so we gotta have the wisdom to know when we should step up and say, no, we need to work and fight against this, or we need to chill and just keep on moving until we're powerful enough to actually have an impact on certain situations.
Let me say something, Brett.
Oh no.
Let me say something.
Okay.
Hold on. Look, I gotta get a chance to talk, right? Okay? I don't understand. What I don't understand is somebody believes in Pan-Africanism, right? That means you want to see Africa develop, right? It means you need capital, you need investment, you need science, you need technology. Those are the things I study, right? STEM, you need all the stuff like that. When someone blatantly believes in this leftist ideology of global overpopulation and climate change, everything, they believe science and all these things are evil, and we have to get rid of them. We have to get rid of everything. So how can you be a Pan-Africanist, right? Who basically says we need our own infrastructure. The black race should not have no infrastructure. We own no ships. Everything. So in other words, basically, you just stay in mediocrity and just die off. Let the Europeans and the Chinese everything build everything and everything. You just become a consumer, right? And we'll take your natural resources.
No, Colin. You talking to the people who everybody think they're gonna go to Africa and become a farmer. Everybody on the planet, I'm gonna go to Africa. Every black person in America think they're gonna go to Africa and become a farmer. Like no one's in Africa farming. Like you have to have a realistic approach. You can't even be a Pan-Africanist unless you're approaching things from a realistic point of view. At that point, you're just a dude smoking weed on his couch with his friends, right?
Yeah. Africa does not need any more liberals.
No, it doesn't.
Like we need free market capitalistic development. Like Dangote, he's building a refinery. That's a polluting industry. Rabu is building another one, 200,000 barrels per day in Akwa Ibom. We're building a refining industry that is going to pollute, and it's a necessary evil. I mean, there's no way to industrialize a country without pollution of some sort.
They made us against industrialization.
Kyle, let the brother finish, man.
All this liberalism. Is my mic good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, all this liberalism, all this fear of industrial farming, like the lady said, we will never develop if we do not adapt free market capitalism. Pesticides, that's necessary. If you don't use pesticides when you're farming, pests will just destroy your crop. It's not profitable. It's not sustainable. And as far as global warming is concerned, 1,000,000 years from now, all of us are going to be dead. The earth heals itself. Nothing here is permanent.
Yeah, people think, but it's just it's like
somebody wanted to see my passport.
Go ahead.
Here's my passport.
Can I respond? Yeah.
My passport. Some idiot in the chat room.
Yeah, Darius, what were you saying?
My freaking passport. Now shut up.
He finally got it.
Oh, I've been had it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll be out in January.
I don't think anybody's against capitalism except for the totally ignorant. I just think of a person who's against capitalism as a person who just doesn't have any money and they don't realize that they practice capitalism every single day. So we gotta look at things from a realistic political perspective. We don't need to stop building factories. The white man needs to start closing down factories because he's the one with all the factories doing all the damage. We should be able to have 1 or 2 or 20.
Hey, Brandon, do you believe in this Chinese, modern Chinese proverb? It says, consume what you produce what you consume to 90%. If you produce in Africa, right now, we found out last week that Angola imports 90% of its food stuff from Portugal, Lebanon, and everything. If Angola and these countries were producing their own factory, yes, go out there, do the green farming, factory farming, and all stuff like that, modern farming, Africa would feed itself, you know what I'm saying, and have surplus food to export. That's a wealth right there. You create millions.
See, but here's the thing: green farming cannot feed a population. You need industrial farming, mechanized industrial farming.
But see, hold on. Can I?
Supplement. It adds on to it.
Yeah.
But Darius don't.
No, it's not that. No, what we're saying, even with that, the reason why a large part we haven't industrialized is because the position we put ourselves in the global economy, we're an export, we're a raw material driven economy. In many African countries, we're a raw material driven economy, which is bad. We don't manufacture
I'll shut up.
Oh, guys, 1 second, guys. Let me go ahead and give these super chat shout outs. Shout out to Queen Mott Girl TV. The bigot Joe Biden will not save the black race. Only the black race can save ourselves. Salute, Prince Dinus. Thank you so much. Shout out to brother Robert Green for the super chat as well. I.E. Edo, what is a leader? When was Africa completely taken over? Why did Europeans put a stop to slavery? What is the future of Africans in the world? And again, shout out to brother Rob Green for the super chat. Again, guys, hit that like button as you come to the chat room. Again, please hit that like button. And also, too, we are rolling to Sierra Leone April 21st to the 30th. Again, we are rolling to Sierra Leone April 21st to the 30th. If you want to join us, message me, send me an email, search for uhuru.com. I'm sorry, uhuru at searchforuhuru.com, or just go to searchforuhuru.com and message me. All right, go ahead.
Let me give you guys a stat. So the average tomato farm in Europe produces 400 tons per acre. In Nigeria, it's only 5. Why? Because we do not use pesticides enough. We do not use, GMO, which is useful. We do not use any of this industrial technology to compete in agriculture. So if we do not adopt these things, we will never become food sufficient. And that is very dangerous because let's say the currency crashes and we can't import. Mass starvation is what will happen. Our populations are too large to be scared of industrialization. It just is. Like, we have to be realistic. All this natural from the earth bullshit, trying to preserve the climate, we can't afford it as Africa.
Hey, check this out. Let me ask you a question. Aren't hurricanes natural? You know, from the other thing? Aren't tornadoes natural? You know, aren't freaking many plagues that you see are living in the jungle? Nature will kick your ass. You know
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Exactly.
Everything's natural.
It's bullshit.
Lose me with that natural shit, man.
Africa does not need liberals. We don't need liberals. Stay in America.
Why don't we all just smash our cell phones and our laptops right now? Since we want to, I'm sure that would cut down the pollution on the planet. It's all an effort and hypocrisy. Somebody said, Brandon, not everyone is practicing capitalism every day. Capitalism is profit driven. How many people do you know that is making profit in your community every day? Do you understand that even if you work a damn job, you're participating in capitalism? Do you understand that people on welfare are making a 100% profit because they're not doing any work, yet they are getting resources? Everyone's involved with capitalism.
Let's just have it out with these Negroes. I'm sick and tired of them. This is what we can't do.
This show's not about capitalism, by the way. It's about Joe Biden, and no one's produced. Willie, what is Joe Biden going to say black people?
He's not going to do shit. But I mean, I don't think Trump will either.
So why are
Colin,
for him?
Because the black vote is not an intelligent vote. The black vote is not an intelligent vote. It's an emotional vote. The Democrats are giving black Americans what you want, which is representation through Kamala Harris, through Obama, which are just sellouts.
No, through Cardi B.
Yeah, but that's all that's what the voters want. It's not the Democrats' fault. The problem is that the voter base is so uninformed and so unintelligent that they go for that crap. It's not the Democrats' fault.
But
they give you what you want.
Can I respond? Even with the comment with the capitalists.
Can't hear him.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Go ahead. I hear you loud and clear.
I hear you too.
Oh yeah. So when we Yes. Okay. So when we refer to the capitalist system, yes, we live in a global capitalist system, but that system produces massive inequality, like we see example in Africa. Okay,
Liberalism.
Nigeria. No, because look at South Africa. I've been to South Africa. So what do you say to South Africa, where the majority of the population is black,
I would say
79,
like this.
80% is black, and 10% of the population is white, and they own all the wealth, and they're the majority of the country.
Look, bro, you got to know. Don't ask me those silly questions. You know I'm
Hey,
gonna slap
but
you down.
Darius,
You know?
if you were Darius, listen to me. Let me tell you something. Say you had 20 Darius. No, say you had 100 Dariuses, and you have 5 Brandons, and we were all on an island. Within a matter of weeks, the 5 Brandons would control the island, and the 100 Dariuses would probably be dead or either working for me or totally dependent on me. Because if you can distract the 5 Dariuses with non-issues, then that gives you an opportunity to take all the real resources and value that a place offers. That's what's going on in South Africa. You got all the Africans who are struggling just to survive, so they don't even have time to focus on the politics of the country. So
Darius, let's be honest with ourselves. The Africans in South Africa, the average South African, when they go to another country, they say, "I've been to Africa." The mindset of the black South African is, once they just trying to get in where they fit in. They're not trying to overturn. So they don't want what happened to Zimbabwe to them. You know, and the bottom line is the Africans in Africa, they want to get rich. You can't tell the average, even more than African Americans. The African is driven by they're driving most Africans to get rich, and we may overlook certain things. When they come here, they see opportunity, they exploit it, right? That's what it is. So the bottom line is,
Darius,
Africans, they're gonna sit there and live in poverty, wait for some socialist system to come in and save them. They're not going to hear that. Why? Because they're trying to get there. They're trying to move ahead. They're trying to they don't care. Now, another thing in Africa is this. Why are all the
Pan-Africanist leaders were socialists? So why were they all socialists?
That's why they did not succeed in anything they tried to do, because they were socialists.
Marcus Garvey was a socialist. Marcus Garvey had a lot of business.
Marcus Garvey was a capitalist. He said Marcus Garvey said.
I'm talking about Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, the EFF, the ANC, Robert Mugabe.
What did Robert Mugabe?
Robert Mugabe was a socialist.
Yes, he's part of the ZANU-PF. He was a socialist. Yes.
What did he accomplish? What did Robert Mugabe accomplish? All he did was talk a good game. When he got the opportunity to develop his country, he fucked everything up. Same thing with Kwame. Same thing with the Derg in Ethiopia. All these socialists.
Thomas Sankara. Would you say that about Thomas Sankara?
All they did was talk a good game, but they did not accomplish anything. If you want to look at the functional African countries, look at Botswana. That was a capitalist country, and it's the only post-independence government that actually worked. The rest just talked this socialist bullshit, and it failed. And as far as South Africa is concerned, Africans from all over the continent are trying to get over there. Why? Because it's a capitalist, developed economy. Yes, it has its problems, but it's better off than the socialist countries that completely failed. Rwanda now.
He's totally right. I've been to South Africa too, and if you go to South Africa, a lot of people from Zimbabwe over there working.
Malawians, Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, Lesotho.
Right, but you talking about Robert Mugabe? Oh, what about Mugabe? What about him? All his people are over in South Africa looking for jobs right now.
What does it? It was a disaster. And Rwanda, what they're doing, the reason why Rwanda is developing now is because they got rid of all that socialist nonsense that was holding them back. They're embracing free markets. They're improving their ease of doing business. Yeah, Rwanda's doing great once they figured out that capitalism works.
We live in a capitalist world.
I know we live in a capitalist world.
Y'all talking about hunter? Y'all want to go back to like hunter-gatherer societies? It's never going to go.
Oh no, I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, but because people love culture, people love easy access. It's like we got to get with the damn program. Stop having all this freaking virtue signaling crap. That's all it is. We're pretending to care about stuff we don't even really care about. And
Right,
then
I
we
hate
argue those
God,
issues,
man.
and it makes no sense. It makes no sense to argue about things you really don't care. Like, okay, I'll give you Darius, do you own a car?
No, I don't.
Oh,
Are you gonna do you plan on ever owning one?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't care about the environment because even Tesla pollutes the environment because they got to get those batteries from somewhere. We're on cell phones right now talking about we got to save the planet, bro. Come on. Don't let this white man make you into a hypocrite. That's one of the biggest tricks white folks play on black folks. They turn us into hypocrites. As soon as we start talking about what they're doing wrong, guess what they do? They say, well, it's just like Trump told Biden on the debate. Biden talked about Trump not paying taxes. And what Trump do? He turned right around and said, well, Joe, you voted for all those tax laws that allow guys like me to pay very little in taxes every year. And when he said that, what we know in black people's mind, it probably, most of us, it didn't even register. But in the people who really was paying attention, they sat there and said, ooh, snaps. See, that's what happens. At the end of the day, your record is what's going to come back to haunt you. And the people who get out and put themselves in the public spotlight, we do so knowing that our record is going to dictate a lot of what people believe about us. And I'm telling you, I ain't never been no pushover, and I ain't never been a person who wasn't down to stand on my square. And I'm not a fool either. Not as long as I've lived. But we have a lot of foolish, childish, immature people in our ranks, and we need to find out who they are. So we know who we got to separate from.
Yeah, the entertainment, the blacks in the entertainment field, they playing us for fool. There was a video out there, some girls on a poll talking about get your ass out there and vote and whatnot. You know,
right.
a democratic thing. You know, this is what they think of you. You know, this is what they ultimately telling you. You're stupid. You're a bunch of niggas. Get out there and vote for Joe.
And they're right. I mean, they're only reacting to the market. They treat black voters like idiots because black voters act like idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be your first to say that.
Throw our brain. We shut off our brains and start rolling based on pure emotion. It's go ahead.
No, you're good.
It's like my daughter. My daughter said she doesn't like Trump, right? She's like, I don't like Trump. Okay, she's 11. I said, you don't like Trump? Okay, cool. I said, so say for instance, you know, we were homeless, we had no money or whatever. Would you be okay with letting a Hispanic person come live in your house and sleep in your room with you? No. Oh, but you don't like Trump. You don't like the fact that he put kids in cages. See, when it's just something on TV, she can formulate opinion. She's a child. She's going off emotion. But an adult has an obligation to think, and then make a decision. A lot of us don't like thinking. We just like reacting. And we got to start being proactive about what we do. Hey, we should be thinking about what we're going to do the day after the election. We should already have a plan as far as what we're going to do for 2021. We shouldn't even be worried about this damn election. The Chinese and the Mexicans don't give a damn about it. They're focused on how they're going to increase their profits next year.
This shows me something, right? That black people, despite everything, I looked at it and I just came to this conclusion. We have never really been free. You know, we never had. We've never been free. You know, someone tells us we rule by fear. How do they keep us on the plantation? Fear. You know, how are they keeping us voting for Democrat? Fear. You know, everything is fear. Somebody's gonna do something. You got big, strong ass, strapping black men. I'm so scared. Come on, tomorrow.
Black Harvest. You're right. Black Harvest. Black people are like children. We are.
So why are we so scared of Trump to begin with? The unemployment rate for black people was the best it had ever been under Trump. What is the crisis we're scared of? Like, things are getting better for black people in America. What are we if you listen,
black people are full of fear.
No, black people are full of programming. The Democrats and whatever have programmed black people. We listen, when your rationalizations and logic based on what you're doing, based on your actions, makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, then you know that you are someone who's just programmed. It's like Dr. Amos Wilson said, we've been programmed to do everything that benefits white people. What did he say, Colin? He said, why is it that freedom to the black man is doing whatever he wants to do, but everything he wants to do benefits every other race and not himself? And that's exactly. What? Look, you voting for Joe Biden. Well, who does it benefit? It benefits Joe Biden, who's a white person. It benefits white people and the racists who support him. Now, if you say you're going to go for Trump, and Trump, even if he did one thing that benefited black people, which it was more than one, but even if he did one thing, you have to say that voting for Trump is benefiting you in at least one way. So when you got to realize that when you look at Trump and the things he's done that have impacted black people in a positive way, when you say I don't want to vote for him, what you're doing is you're basically verifying what Dr. Amos Wilson said. You are possessed with a European demon, and that demon it has such a strong desire to survive that it will even destroy the host just to preserve itself. And that's what your Eurocentric demon is doing. It is causing you to operate in a self-destructive, anti-African way on behalf of your white oppressor. I don't care if all Trump was doing was throwing out Ritz crackers from the White House lawn and they was only for black people. At least he's doing something for black people. And what we're asking everybody to do today is give us that one thing that Joe Biden is doing that is exclusively for black people, because the black unemployment rate went up exclusively. Black colleges got money exclusively. The First Step Act, over 95% of people released were black. Okay, so now just give me that one policy that Joe Biden has promised that he was going to introduce for us that was going to have any positive impact on us. And
you know what, Brandon? You know the problem is.
Well, hold on. Let me get Nicholas on. Nicholas, go ahead, Nicholas. Nicholas. Go ahead, Nicholas. Nicholas.
You're muted. Your mic is muted, Nicholas. Unmute your mic, Nicholas.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, here you go.
Can
Ahead.
You hear me now?
Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like a T-Mobile dude. Can you hear me now? But back to you guys were talking about the Joe Biden thing. You know, is he gonna save America or save Black America, thing like that? But Brendan has a lot of good points. You know, things like that. It's just like I remember I was watching a video a couple of days ago. Dan said it. We don't want power. We just want to be comfortable. Now, when I saw that platinum plan, I thought exactly the same thing, Brandon. I'm like, oh my God, this is the key, you know, to our freedom. You know what I mean? But everybody keeps looking at his words and things like that. Donald Trump has an audience. Joe Biden has an audience. Understand?
Nicholas, it's not the key to our freedom. What it is just a step in the right direction.
All right, exactly, right direction. So then I'm like, man, we should vote for this. And I was getting a lot of kickback. People say, man, we'll look at your skin color. I'm like, it's not about Trump. At the end of the day, look, he's done things for the Black community, right? We got the Obama administration did the HBCU thing. Trump was able to take it and go a little bit further and give the HBCUs more money. Now, we need to think like this. If Trump is a known racist, or he supposedly is, right? And he's doing the same shit that Obama was not able to do, why not back it up if the racist other guys in Congress who got to vote for it are stupid enough to vote for it? Because that just shows you right there, like mentally, they're not right. It does, because we already know racism clouds their judgment. It doesn't even make sense, right? And another thing to keep in mind also is, and then I'm gonna hop off here, is this: when James Madison and his buddies were writing the Constitution, they literally intended for the people who are the business owners, people with the money, to have more of a say. That was the goal. He believed that those people were smarter. And now, call me a conspiracy theorist and things like that, because I just read enough in U.S. history, so I don't believe in coincidences. Now, think about why and how long has it been that African Americans have not gotten reparations? Every prosperous community you guys have had, you know, that was self-sufficient, have been destroyed. Some even by not just the KKK, by the U.S. government or by local governments when they, you know, sign on those papers and say this is where we're gonna run our highways, you know, things like that. You know, so we gotta realize that it's about power and it's about money, and a lot of us do not want that. A lot of us, like you said, we just want to be a little bit more comfortable in Master's house. You know, we don't want to be able to control our own destinies and build a continental superpower You know, where I feel like personally, I feel like where it's gonna be the center of this planet and the center of this goddamn universe. You know what I mean? If the aliens want to come down and party with us, that's cool. They already know we're not gonna open them up and dissect them and anything crazy like that. You know, that's what I had to say.
Hey, black.
But I
Hey,
would say,
Hold on. I was saying, let caller go ahead, caller. Go ahead and respond, caller.
No, what he was saying was absolutely right. See, the problem in black culture and our culture is we like you said, we don't want any power. You know, we don't want any power. We don't know what that even looks like. And I said this, and I was telling you the other day, Diane, right? I said there's a different mind. It's like when I wrote my novel, right? One of the things I wanted to emphasize in my novel, right, was the difference in the thinking between the African American, right, contemporary 19th century African American who went to Liberia, right, and the African and the modern African Liberian versus the African American, right. While we were going through civil rights movement, the Liberians were going to the UN, sitting and voting on major world policies. You know, major world policies. The state of Israel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the Liberian vote, right? So what you have in Black America is basically our development as a people, because we choose to be Americans and stay in America forever in perpetuity. We have what we call arrested development, which we basically are Black America collectively are children. You know, we don't think like adults. When you even say, you know, something, I'm not feeling Biden. What do people tell you? You're stupid, like Kanye.
Right.
Everybody's attacking Kanye, but what he's saying is right. You know, he goes, "You don't own me. You don't tell me who to vote for." You know, the last thing they have, like I said, which is a plantation. The last thing they have, right, is our vote. And this is gonna be the last election. They're gonna need our vote, because if Joe Biden wins, the first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna open the borders, right, bring millions of people from Central America in, right, give them citizens. They're gonna make D.C. and Puerto Rico a state, right, which are gonna take the Senate, right, which are gonna take the Senate, right. That'd be four. They're gonna have 4 new senators permanently, a block, right? If they do that, right, then that means that they could bring this socialist result. And what's gonna happen to Black America? You ain't gonna. They're not gonna. They won't have to go to you no more. They won't even have to pretend anymore. You know, you will just go by the wayside. So the only thing you could probably do is they're gonna try to stop that. Is you mass exodus of Black people out of here, because the future is gonna be bleak. Because bottom, they already see us as damaged things. They much rather have Black immigrants coming over here. They much rather have Mexicans, Chinese, everything. Why? Because they never solved the initial problem of America's thing, which is the sin of slavery. They never dealt with that. And also, when we talk about reparations, nobody gives anything unless it's by force. There's no power to force America to do this. They're not going to do this out of the goodness of their heart. Give everybody reparations. It's not going to happen. People said to me, "Oh, what about the Japanese? The Japanese never got reparations. They got compensation. If the Japanese had got reparations for what they lost, do you know they were owned probably Sacramento and San Francisco? That's how much they lost, right? They got a little payout as a compensation, which was on the back end of a civil rights bill, you know, and it was passed at the last minute because America was having problems with their bases over there. It was the height of the Cold War. They said, "Oh, what about those Japanese lost money? Okay, we're going to give them $25,000 a piece." The Reagan administration did that, put it in the legislation, and they passed it. And that settled that issue, right? But they never got reparations. They never got reparations. Reparations when a country is brought to their knees. Japan paid reparations over decades to China, Korea, and Southeast Asia. All the
South Korea is still mad too.
Hold up. South Korea, screw South Korea. They got more than they bargained for. They're just jealous of Japan. That's all that was, you know. Germany had to pay England, the Netherlands, all these countries they invaded. France, all these countries they invaded. Austria, all these countries, and the state of Israel before, after a certain part, doing the Marshall Plan, all this like that. So therefore, reparations happens when a country loses. When the United States defeated Spain, right, which was the blow up of the Maine, right, which was, they said it was a ship, but they said the Spanish sunk it. The United States came in there and invaded the Philippines and took the Philippines over. Spain had to pay millions of dollars. You know, wars have consequences, right? You have to pay restitution, reparations back to end as a treaty of war, and the treaty of war. You know, and then everything's owed. Years later, Japan and the United States are friends. Once the thing's in, that's what happens. Black America, you have never signed a treaty, anything with the United States. Show me one treaty between so-called African Americans and the U.S. government. There is
Wait, Colin.
Well,
Colin,
Can I respond to that? Because
wait, guys, wait. Zoltar the Magnificent. Our time is done. We should sell out, and vote for Trump and just let it happen. Biden sucks.
Who are these clowns?
Wait. So we need to make a point and sacrifice all our rights. Zoltar the Magnificent, get on the show. You can get on the show and tell us what rights we have that we're sacrificing, and then tell me, just see, that's the kind of thinking. See, that person, they can't come to the cookout if I'm running the cookout.
What it is, Brendan, is fear.
I think. Hold on. Can I respond to that? Or why some?
Hold on. Let's get order here. So we'll go Darius, Willie, then Nicholas, and then we'll swing back to Brandon and Colin. Go ahead, Darius.
I'm gonna address this first. The viewer, the voters, the person in the chat, and then I'll respond to Colin's the reparations argument. I think one of the concerns that has to be addressed is when we talk about leverage, or some people like we have to vote this way, or they have that sense of fear, is because this assumption that, oh, it can't get worse. Yeah, tell that to the Jews and the Tutsis and the Armenians who got genocided when they thought it couldn't get worse. Things can always get worse. You want things to stay stable so it doesn't have to escalate to get worse. We see it right now, what's going on between Armenia and Azerbaijan, where the Armenians are about to have to go to war to defend their thing because it might get worse. So that could be addressed on that part. Now,
go ahead, Derek.
Now, when it comes to college issue, I think the problem is with what we're having in the Black community is this integrationalism versus the separatism and nationalism. And I always bring this case up when they keep talking about, well, Native Americans got reparations. Native Americans refer to themselves as the Sioux Fall Nation or the Cherokee Nation or the Catawba Nation. They don't say we are Sioux Fall Americans. Like, they see their as a nation. They define themselves as a nation.
We're the Hebrew Israelite nation.
Look, after the Civil War, the United States promised Black Americans 40 acres and a mule, and that was never given.
But it
to
wasn't
Black
law. It wasn't law. It wasn't a law. It wasn't nothing. That was
yeah,
no
we
law.
were.
Well, still though, it just does not make sense to free people from slavery and then give them nothing. That's ridiculous.
They gave it to them and then they took it back, bro. They gave it to them and then they took it back.
Because you
have
got
no power. If you have no power, you have no base of power. You can't do anything in their system. You know, that's why I can't tell. We have these conversations. You Black people are not a nation. We're behind enemy lines. We're in captivity. We're not like the Indians and everybody else who was here, or other people who chose to come here. You know, the America, like when Texas was founded, right? You know what they did? They said, okay, the white man's the master of this land of Texas, right? And we fought for that. We actually went to war to help establish Texas, right, from Mexico, right? Black folks, right? Then after that, guess what? We were put on the bottom. Mexicans were put on top of us. Indians were left to the side and everything like that. And the white man was made supreme. The bottom line, the African race. Look at the original Texas Constitution. The African race, the Black, not no people of color shit. That was Darius trying to promote this POC shit. You know what I'm saying? The African race is at the bottom of the civilization. The Indians are on top of him, and all the stuff like that. So the bottom line,
I think that African Americans have a good case for reparations, and like if you look at,
let me ask you a question.
Colin, we're trying to go in order, Colin. We're trying to go. Come on, Willie, then Nicholas. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you look at groups like the Gullah Geechee and whatnot in South Carolina, I don't see why they don't make that into sort of like a reservation. Once you have the land that you can call your own, at that point, reparations make sense.
They'll be dead in a month.
Dead?
Man, there's no infrastructure.
Let Willie. I'm trying to hear.
I'm about to say that. I'm about to say Brandon brought it up.
Hold on, man. Let me hear Willie. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, the Gullah Geechee have their own communities in the Salt Islands in Georgia and South Carolina. I don't see why you can't give that land some sort of federal protection, make it into a reservation, and give them.
Can I respond to that? Because
Do you understand?
Bro, can't Willie finish his damn statement. God damn.
Let me go after that, Dinus.
No, I want to pass it to Nicholas. Then you can respond. Go ahead, Willie.
Well, basically, what I'm trying to say is I think that there is a good case for reparations. Black people just need to be more organized with it and get lawyers on this and find the specific instances where the United States broke its word with your people and move from there, because that's what the Indians did. I think that there's a very good case for it. That's all I have to say. I have to dig a little deeper into the Gullah Geechee, but I think there really is something that can be done with that.
Well, you can't have a nation inside a nation. So Gullah Geechee,
the Indians do.
But the Gullah Geechees, they're not indigenous to this land. They came from Sierra Leone, Liberia. I mean, they were
so. Slaves. I mean, look, they've been here for 400 years. That's indigenous. They've been here for 500 to 400 years. Look, that does not matter. They've been here for long enough.
Yeah, but
Willie. Well, the point is that Willie.
Look, the Indians are not indigenous either. They're mixed for the most part. They're only 15% native. They're mixed.
All right, okay, Nicholas, go ahead, Nicholas. You want to respond to this, Nicholas?
Yeah.
Go
ahead. I just want to touch on two things: the reparations. I mean, I feel like we're chasing a unicorn here, right? Because I'm Caribbean, I'm Haitian. I really want you guys to get reparations. If African Americans get a reparation, that means we, as Haitians, have a chance to get reparations from France. Now, 3 weeks ago, France and America, sanctioned the shit out of Zimbabwe to the point that they finally buckled and paid reparations out for stolen land, right? Now, as a leader, and which is basically what we're doing right here. If you have leadership qualities, you know that you must think ahead, right? So for 400 years, they have not paid reparations. And guess what? Every year, that price tag goes up. And they know this. They only would do this if they never plan on paying it, right? And as for voting for Trump, we're so scared. And this is the thing. We're scared. One, we're scared of Trump supporters. That's one. And two, we're over here always attaching other people's struggles onto us, right? A lot of us have Hispanic friends and things like that. It's about the border and things like that. So we don't want to feel like we're betraying them and things like that. But guess what? We're underneath them and they're doing better than us. And half of them don't even have our backs anyways until it benefits them. Let's get real. Let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are we scared of? We've been voting Democrat for 40 years. Me as a Haitian, Democrats has been boxing me inside and outside this country, right? It was the Clinton's administration, that stole all that money, that jacked up my economy. And that joker got on, live television, his conference talking about, hey, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm going to fix it down there. I'm going to fix the rice, the farms, the pigs. He didn't fix nothing. He never fixed anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we scared of? Stop attaching other people's struggle. What more can we lose? Even if, let's say we all vote for Trump, right? Let's say we all vote for Trump and he was BSing somehow, even though somehow this racist has a better plan than the Democratic, which is supposed to be our board, right? Let's just say he doesn't do anything, right? He doesn't do anything. We still win. This is how. Because guess what? We just did something crazy, something unexpected, and our vote is the tiebreaker. So now moving forward, now what we need to do on our end will be this. We'll need some tangibles. We'll need some signatures, make sure that this is the real deal. But at least they know we're willing to do whatever it takes that benefits us. You know what I'm saying? We're not practicing nationalism. If we're practicing nationalism, this will be common sense to vote for whatever is on paper. You know what I mean? We're over here being affected by words. We're not thinking, we're not like my boy Brandon said, we're not thinking logically. We're thinking with emotions. You know what I'm saying? We have to start thinking about it this way. If Obama was having a hard time passing these cookies for us, right? These streets for us.
No, Obama never had any cookies for us, bro. Let's not even go there. Obama never even tried.
From what I've seen, his administration, because I was looking at what he did give money out to the HBCUs. Trump came back around
very little.
No, it's close. Trump came back around it and was able to give a little bit more. But it's the
Trump funded HBCUs for the next 10 years, so they don't gotta come back and ask.
Right, that's true. But this is what I'm saying.
Obama funded them for 1 year.
Let the brother finish. This is what we're gonna do. Let the brother finish, and then I'm gonna pass the collar And then, Brand, I'm gonna let you close out because Georgia's playing Auburn right now. I'm about to watch my alma mater. So
All
go
right,
ahead.
cool. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we all know they were giving Obama a hard time just because he's black. No, let's not kid ourselves. We know this.
No sympathy for me.
We know that. We know. Okay, no sympathy. But at the end of the day, if a guy is willing to do it, is a racist, why not take it? That's like somebody say, "Hey, Brandon, man, I hate you, man. I hate your guts. I don't like you. You know, I don't like you, you black, SOB." And then whispers while he's walking out the door, "Hey, by the way, I left you $1 million under the carpet." So you're not gonna take that $1 million, Brandon?
First job I ever had was for a racist white dude from Boston named Ron. Made a lot of money working with that dude in apartments.
All right, and let me finish. Let me see what Willie was saying about and this is very, very important to listen to this. And I'm not saying, Colin, up there, you take my advice and don't listen to me, whatever. General Sherman asked several black leaders that weren't chosen black leaders, just people on the thing. He says, after this war is over, what do you people want? Right? What do you people? This is very key, and it's been written out in history. The leaders at the time that he met with, they weren't no chosen leaders like Douglas or whoever. That like he asked them, you guys are in connection with the escaped slaves in the swamps. You guys are here on the fields and everything. People are coming off the fields, joining our ranks. We got refugee situation. What do you people want? He said, the leader said, look, what we need is space. We need territory. And the territory they talked about was from Wilmington all the way to Jacksonville, Florida, as a special district that's federally controlled for at least 50 years. He said that we could build communities and black people have a place of refuge. And then they talked about even shipping some black people to Liberia or to Haiti, right? In other words, basically pointing black people out of America. He said he said, look, if you leave us in the hands of these white people, then that racism is going to last for hundreds of years. And they were right. Their prejudice against us is going to terrorize us. They're going to come after us. They're not going to see us. They don't want to see us. So this idea that the Gullah Geechee or ready, no. Once that happened, after Lincoln was assassinated, right? That whole program, Lincoln wanted to do it, right? It all collapsed, right? And then what happened? Black people were left to we had Reconstruction, and black people were left in the hands of white people. And what happened after that? We had the Great Migration. My book was based on that time period.
Well, if the Jews could get reparations, why can't African Americans?
That's another thing. Hold up. Did you understand what I just said? Did you understand what I said? Germany was defeated in World War II. Where did the reparations come from?
No, reparations from the U.S. government. Jews have got reparations from the U.S. government.
Israel's a close ally of the U.S. Israel's a close ally of the U.S.
Israel got political power, so it can also give the United States as a street. But I'm talking about Germany had to pay restitution and reparations to every Jew in Israel. That's what they used to fund the state of Israel.
Look, that's a separate issue. I'm talking about the United States government has given reparations to Jews.
Let me interject. Just keep it short. The reason why it's not going to happen, Willie Fungo, is because the Black America doesn't have a nation that could support them in making the reparations claim. Jews had Israel, Japanese have Japan, so Black America doesn't. So that's why that can't happen. But Brandon, what we'll do?
We have Liberia, but we don't want it.
Yeah. Colin, anything else you want to share?
Okay, well, I was going to say that was what I wanted to say about that. If you don't have a nation state, you're not getting reparations paid to a people, a state, a sovereign people. Well, you can't be a U.S. citizen and cut reparations from the same government that feeds you, that house you. It doesn't work. That stupid comment. People don't understand. Okay, you're gonna give compensation or affirmative action. That's one thing. When you talk about reparations, you're talking about treaty, wars, and some everything. You talk about giving up your U.S. citizenship and becoming something like that. Then if you plan on leaving America in large numbers, then you got a case for reparations because you're giving up your U.S. citizenship. But you can't call yourself an American and under the Constitution and say that this country is my enemy. Would you say reparations? You're saying the United States is your enemy.
No, you are not. Did the Jews become the United States enemy for getting reparations? I mean,
yes.
No, they did not. No, they did not. France has given reparations to Holocaust survivors. Okay, well, call it something else then. But it's just in effect.
Germany.
Okay, call it something else. The United States government has given money to Holocaust survivors.
Hold on. What I'm saying is this,
I would say
it's a play on words. You can play on words. You can say United States should give black people help, affirmative action, or set asides like that. But when you say the word reparations, you're talking about war. You're talking about geopolitics.
Fine. Okay, fine. I'll give you that. But if you want to talk about specific, like money given to a group, other groups have gotten that without going to war with the United States.
I would say one last thing, and then I'm about to get off because I got to get up with this dynamics homework.
Well, okay, man. Listen, Darius, what we'll do, man? We're about to close out. Colin, what do you like to? Okay, Colin, what would you like to share? What would you like to say, Colin? What would you like to say?
Okay. Catch me on Wednesday nights, my radio show on Gangsta Bro Radio, www.gangstabrораdio.com. Wednesday night, we chop it up and whatnot. It's funny, humor. You're gonna see a raw side of college Genesis and everything like that. And thanks for the support. Thanks for Search for Huru, Brandon, everybody else also on the panel and everything. It's a great show. I'm glad to be here. I like Brandon taking because I'm so tired. Brandon taking the reins for me on Saturday nights. I'm glad we just chop in. But it's all good.
All right, Brandon, go ahead and close out, Brandon.
I forgot it was Saturday. But so basically the reality is this. The sheer magnitude of the number, the sheer amount of money that black people are owed for reparations is really what condemns us to never ever receive it, right? How do you start to begin to calculate, the value of slavery? We have to understand that what we would be talking about when we talk about reparations would be us actually being placed in a superior economic position by people who we claim are our open enemies, right? Pretty much they would be putting us above the greater segment of their own population. Even if you gave every black family $300,000, you would be creating generational wealth, right? For black people. And what people who have a reparations argument have to convince me of first, they have to answer one question. Why on earth would your open enemy, the person who you said is so evil as the devil did all this to you, why would he put you in a better position than his own offspring? It's just never going to happen, right? And the people who continue to talk about it don't realize that they're being placed on that Negro hamster wheel politically, where you go and ask people who hate you to do nice things for you, right? Joe Biden has already said he's not interested in reparations for blacks. Kamala Harris has already said that, right? So basically, when we go vote for Joe Biden, we're ensuring that for the next 4 to 8 years, reparations will not even be on the table when it comes to the federal government, right? So what you're going to realize is we are older. We're in our 30s. If you don't get reparations in the next 10 years, you're going to look up, you're going to be in your mid-40s or you're going to be 50. 10 more years after that, and usually things switch every 8 years. Now the Republicans got it. They're not going to give you nothing because it ain't never even, you don't even want to work with them. So you got about 20 years until there's a serious argument for reparations being entertained on the federal platform. Let's be real. So what you're doing right now is you are agreeing that you're going to stand still in the United States for the next 20 years because the Democrats who are going up for the presidency have said they're not interested in reparations. They're not going to give it to you. Then the Republicans who will take over after them, which is how it goes, you don't even want to talk to them. You calling me all kinds of names for even talking about Republicans or conservatives. So you got a 20-year wait, and I'll see you on the back end of that 20-year wait. And then another thing is you have to realize too, Israel provides the United States with a strategic, advantage in the Middle East. So when you talk about them getting reparations, you have to also understand that they have something to offer the United States. The Israelis help the United States in a way where they don't have to keep running over the Middle East every 5 minutes trying to squash issues, right? So you have to have something to offer. Also, what you have to understand too is that look at the Jews. The Jews went and worked with Donald Trump to get Jerusalem named as the capital of Israel. Obama wouldn't do it. Bush wouldn't do it. Reagan wouldn't do it. No U.S. president would do that. The Jews, they didn't sit up and say, oh, he's racist. Oh, I don't like the way he treats his wife. They didn't bring up a bunch of bullshit. They went in with their plan, what they wanted, and they went and presented it to whoever was holding power at the time, and they got what they wanted. We refuse to do that. We are not the Jews. We are not that intelligent as a collective.
Let me ask you a question, Brent.
Well, I want to go watch some Georgia football.
You want to watch? Yeah,
Georgia football. Colin, you got. I mean, Brandon,
yeah, I'm about to say, I got dynamics. I got to get done. I got
you got 1 minute, Brandon.
So the Jews, they have a higher level of collective intelligence than we do. It's like this. If you really want to make a difference, when people step up and say things and say, yo, this is the agenda, right? We, at some point, if we're not going to go out and do the footwork to make things change ourselves, we have to just go, right, in the direction of the person who's willing to do that. That's how you win battles, right? Every soldier probably doesn't agree with what the general says we should do, his strategy. But if they don't fight as hard to make his plan a success as he is going to, that means they're probably going to die. And that's the problem in America. Black people have not been pushed to the brink far enough to the brink. They're not on the ledge, so they don't see no reason to just move in one direction. When your back is against the wall, the only direction is forward. We're not there yet. So we can still value our own personal opinion more than what's best for the collective. So Joe Biden, I think we've solved that. Joe Biden's not doing nothing for black people unless y'all got some new information.
Let me ask you, Brandon. Let me ask you a question.
Oh, you can't.
We'll do a part 2.
Please. Like, yo, I got dynamics. I got it's due at midnight. And
what you say?
Brandon, how can people reach you? What's your content? How can people reach you and follow you?
My page is Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. I think I'm like 3 people away from 1,000 subscribers. Go subscribe. Pan-Africanism with a K Strikes Back. And then also you can hit me up at ourafricaplan@gmail.com. Our, not R, A-R-E, no. O-U-R, africaplan@gmail.com all together. And that's pretty much it. And hey, if you don't want to support Trump, just don't vote so Trump can win anyway. Because I'm gonna vote for that 500 billion. Y'all vote whatever y'all do whatever y'all want to do for y'all family. But I'm about to vote for that 500 billion because I need 500 billion. And then wait. And this is what you need to do. All my people who got common sense. When you vote for Trump and he gets elected, you need to immediately go.
Brandon, you know what you guys are doing? This is like when somebody in the chat room says, when my grandma called and I gotta go, and my grandma just
I get it. This is 1 second. What you got to do is immediately when Trump gets reelected, you need to go do research and find out how you can be able to be eligible to receive some of that money. So all you guys in the chat need to be trying to start a business right now. It don't matter what it is. You don't got to have no business license or nothing. Just go start some type of business and start collecting receipts. And then you worry about being eligible to receive some of that 500 billion. Then you go do whatever you want to do. That's what you need to do. That's the plan.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty.
See you, Dynasty, everybody.
Peace.